Watchman of Ephraim here. It's time to start delving back into prophecy. Time to start delving back into one of my favorite subjects concerning the Bible, which is Bible prophecy and the identity of the United States, which I witness is Ephraim. I carry the name on my channel, the Watchman of Ephraim. That's from Hosea chapter 9, verse 8. Whatever your translation is, go read that verse. Anyways, today I'm going to talk about the Great Seal of the United States. Things are looking pretty bad out there, and I'm going to get back into this once again, but I think I'm going to do a redo over how this nation came into being. And today, the Great Seal of the United States. What I want to reiterate first is this nation is going to be punished for its sins. Don't fool yourself. There's a lot of things I see people taking up, like, a lot of things are getting too spiritualized, I see. The church is Judah. Over in the Middle East, it's not really the country of Judah. And the apostate church is Ephraim. The real physical country of Ephraim does not exist. Probably the next video I'm going to do on Ephraim is the sixth trumpet. That's when we get it. Of course, prove all things. This nation will be punished for its sins. It was given everything, rulership over the earth, by the obedience of one man. By the way, this is not, when I do prophecy concerning the United States, this is not British Israelism. I'm not promoting a superior race. This is not the identity movement, whatever that is. Never read about it. This is about the promise God gave to Abraham, that a great nation would emerge in the latter days, and a multitude of nations, or a fullness of nations. By the way, look on the Drudge Report. The white population, Israel population in this country, if that's what you want to classify it, or the white population is down to 58%. There's over 400 counties that whites are now the minority. Okay, this is part of the curses of this country, and every great empire does the same thing. I'm not pushing race here. We're about to become oppressed. We're going to go into captivity. Hosea chapter 9, verse 8. Surely the eyes of the sovereign Lord, or Yahweh, are on the sinful kingdom. That's primarily us, Ephraim, the 10 northern tribes. I will destroy it from the face of the earth. Yet I will not totally destroy the descendants of Jacob, declares Yahweh, for I will give the command, and I will shake the people of Israel among all the nations, as grain is shaken in a sieve, and not a pebble will reach the ground. All the sinners among my people will die by the sword. All those who say, disaster will not overtake or meet us. That's what I'm getting from a lot of people today. They're going to spiritualize everything away. Or they are spiritualizing everything away. It's wrong. this country will be punished. It will be taken into captivity. Of course, prove all things. So this video has to do with, I'm starting to get kind of a mojo back concerning doing videos. The Great Seal of the United States, which, hidden in plain sight, our identity. Notice that Great Seal has the number 13 all over it. You know, I was going to read from William F. Dankenbring's book, America and Great Britain in Heraldry and Prophecy. I still might. But then again, to make this video short, maybe I'll just do my own thing here. Okay? The number 13 is all over the United States, its beginnings. And we were born in rebellion. That's the number 13. 13 in the Bible, in numerology, that's what you want to call it, represents rebellion. When we led the 10 northern tribes in rebellion against Rehoboam, almost froze. I'm starting to freeze more on names. My memory is going. Okay, we were born in rebellion when we revolted over taxes. And so we did it again. So this is screaming. Okay, our identity. Should I go to? Why not? Maybe I'll just do this for the most part on my own. Maybe I'll read some from the book. I will be sipping coffee once again. Genesis. Chapter 48. This is the blessing of the two sons. All right. Let me go ahead and read. When Israel, verse 8, when Israel saw this is in Egypt, Israel, Jacob, he sees the sons of Joseph, Ephraim, and Manasseh, and he's going to give them the birthright blessing. Ephraim, of which is the younger, is going to get the greater portion, the double fruit. He gets the firstborn inheritance. I just did a video on that. Okay. When Israel saw the sons of Joseph, he asked, "Who are these?" "They are the sons of God. They are the sons God has given me here," Joseph said to his father. Then Israel said, "Bring them to me so that I may bless them." Now Israel's eyes were failing because of old age, and he could hardly see. So Joseph brought his sons close to him, and his father kissed them and embraced them. Israel said to Joseph, "I never expected to see your face again, and now God has allowed me to see your children too." Then Joseph removed them from Israel's knees and bowed down with his face to the ground. And Joseph took both them, Ephraim on his right toward Israel's left hand, and Manasseh on his left toward Israel's right hand. So he crossed hands and brought them close to him. But Israel reached out his right hand and put it on Ephraim's head, though he was the younger. In crossing his arms, he makes an X, he put his left hand on Manasseh's head, even though Manasseh was the firstborn. So here, as we often see in the Bible, the firstborn, the true firstborn, gets passed over, like Esau did. Then he blessed Joseph and said, "May the God before whom my fathers Abraham, Isaac walked faithfully, the God who has been my shepherd all my life to this day, the angel who has delivered me from all harm, may he bless these boys. May they be called by my name and the names of my fathers Abraham, Isaac, and may they increase greatly on the earth." Let me just go to the New King James. I'm just not used to. I was a little disoriented with that. Verse 5. "And now your two sons, Ephraim and Manasseh, who were born to you in the land of Egypt before I came to you in Egypt, are mine. As Reuben and Simeon, they shall be mine." So he adopted the two sons. So out of Joseph came two tribes. So we end up with 13 tribes, with Ephraim being the youngest. But he set him before Manasseh in the end, giving him the greater birthright. But he's the youngest son. Okay. Going on here. Verse 19, concerning the blessings, Joseph said, "Hey, you're doing it all wrong. You got your hands, uncross them. Put your right hand on Manasseh. He's the firstborn." But his father refused and said, "I know, my son, I know." Verse 19, pitiful. "He shall become a people, and he shall be great." This is a latter-day prophecy. This concerns two nations. Two independent nations. "He also shall be great, but truly his younger brother," notice he identifies him as the younger brother, "but truly his younger brother shall be greater than he, and his descendants shall become a multitude of nations," or a fullness of nations. In other words, he's going to have a lot of foreigners making up his population. Here's the United States. Notice 13 colonies we started off with. 50 states. Multitude of peoples. A fullness of the peoples or nations. So much so that we're about to become the minority because of our disobedience, because of our wickedness. Okay? 13 colonies. What's the number for Ephraim? I'm always disorganized. Ephraim is the 13th tribe. Ephraim was the 13th tribe because he was born after his brother Manasseh. He was born last to Joseph in Egypt after Manasseh, the 12th tribe. Okay. Born after Manasseh. First came Great Britain. Out of Great Britain came the younger brother. Britain, the British Empire, dominated the earth after the Spanish Armada in 1588. The United States came on the scene actually in 1870. They had the world's largest economy. But after World War II, the United States was handed the earth. We could have destroyed the Soviet Union. We were the only ones that had the bomb until 1949. We were handed the earth. Just as Messiah will be handed the earth in the latter days. Okay. All right. Yeah. Maybe I will go ahead and read some of the stuff from this book. This concerns the Great Seal of the United States, and it has Ephraim all over it. Okay. I'll read maybe some of it and then expound myself concerning other things. The Great Seal of the United States, on the day of the Declaration of Independence, when it was signed, a committee was appointed to design a national seal. The committee consisted of Benjamin Franklin, John Adams, and Thomas Jefferson. Concept after concept was rejected as artists and others contributed their ideas. The present seal was formally adopted June 20th, 1782. As the Revolutionary War involved great sufferings, trials, and loss of life, the colonies looked to God and His Word for spiritual guidance. Both sides of the United States seal have been printed on the $1 bill, allowing us to determine the full meaning of the seal. Okay. When ancient Israel marched out of Egypt under Moses, they marched under the 4 standards bearing the figures of the lion, the bull, the eagle, and man. Okay, so here's this encampment. They would march in this formation. Judah would start first. And you know what? I actually forget the order. I think Reuben would go second, Manasseh, Ephraim, Benjamin third, and then at last Dan and Asher and Naphtali. That's, I do believe, the order. Okay, I think I got it right. Like I said, my memory is terrible. This is how they would march in that formation. These strange living creatures. These are the guardians of God's throne. I did a video on how mankind is going to replace these creatures around God's throne. These were the ensigns of these 3 tribes: the bull, Ephraim, and the tribes associated on the west side. Notice Ephraim's the west. Then you have the camp of Dan the eagle, Judah the lion, and then Reuben the man. I mean, you just have these strange creatures here: the lion, the man, the ox, or the bull, and the eagle. Okay, notice again here. Let me go on here. When ancient Israel marched out of Egypt under Moses, they marched under the standards bearing the figures of the lion, bull, eagle, and man. There were 3 tribes under each standard or flag, and they marched or encamped in the form of a hollow square positioned around the tabernacle of God, which was at the center of their camp and marching formation. This hollow square was a form of fighting used by the British. We read these 4 figures in Ezekiel. As for the likeness of their faces, the 4 had, let me go to the next page, the face of a man, the face of a lion on the right side, and the 4 had the face of an ox on the left side. The 4 also had the face of an eagle. That's Ezekiel 1:10. These were the cherubim, Ezekiel 10:1-14. Again, these were the guardians of His throne, the guardians of His holiness. These are the guardians right now. going to be replaced by man. Ephraim's symbol is the ox. Okay? Let me just go on here and keep reading. The American eagle. I'm just going to read from this book here. At least for right now. There's the Great Seal. Okay, the American eagle. The eagle in the American seal has its face turned to the right or westward. It is in full flight, indicating the American march to the western horizon. The motto of the early American, coined by Horace Greeley, was "Go west, young man," and generations of Americans followed that advice, settling the entire continent from the east to the west coast. Also, what I do believe this means, notice the eagle is looking west. So if we pull up let me go to the world, okay. Also, Joseph was separate from his brothers, from the 10 lost tribes in northwestern Europe. Notice Great Britain is to the west of them. He's separated by the English Channel. Then you go further west. Notice the eagles facing west. You have the United States. You have Ephraim. Joseph was separated from his brothers. You can read that in Genesis chapter 49, verses 22 through 26. In that area there, he was separated from his brothers. And here, once again, the thing that has been is what will be, that which is done is what will be done. He went down to Egypt. He was separate from his brothers. You can see the identity, once again, although hidden. He's separate from his brothers. Okay? It's kind of where, once again, the eagle is looking west. Okay? The eagle is an illustration of God's guardianship over Israel. As an eagle stirs up her nest, fluttering over her young, spreading abroad her wings, taking them, bearing them on her wings, so Yahweh alone did lead him, that's Israel, and there was no strange God with him. He made him to ride on the high places of the earth, that he might eat. This is from the Song of Moses. He made him ride on the high places of the earth, that he might eat the increase of the field, and he made him to suck honey out of the rock, and oil out of the flinty rock, butter of cattle, and milk of sheep, with fat of lambs and rams of the breed of Bashan, and goats with the fat of kidneys of wheat. So in other words, we were blessed to the utmost. And you did drink the pure blood of grapes. And we're big wine drinkers in the United States. Big wine producers. We're the breadbasket of the world. Hey, this is a latter-day prophecy. But Jehoram, another word for Israel, waxed fat and kicked. You are waxen fat. You are obese. You're covered with fatness. I need to lose 10 more pounds myself. You talk about an overabundance of food. But hey, that's being taken away as we speak. Then he forsook God which had made him, and lightly esteemed the God of his salvation. We've thrown God out of the schools. We've thrown God out of everywhere. We've become a nation of, they have begotten strange children, pagan children. All right. God brought Israel out of Egypt on eagle's wings. Exodus 19:4. Thus the eagle is a key symbol for God and his loving protection. Interestingly, the eagle is noted for its keen eyesight, its powerful flight, its soaring aloft, and its nests amidst the towering crags, where its young are protected. The eagle mates for life. It is also a very clean bird, keeping its nest clean with maidenhair, a special herb. It raises only 2 or 3 eagles a year, and when the time comes, does not permit its young to remain near the nest, but forces it out of the nest, teaching it to fly, and then forcing it to seek other regions to dwell in. Here's another picture of the American eagle in flight. Okay. Majestic bird. All right. Okay, I'm going to skip. He starts talking about the British shield, or the British seal. And I'm going to skip that. I'm going to go down to the shield. I'm going to go back here. The shield right here, that's in front of the eagle. Let me get a sip of coffee here. In Deuteronomy we read, Happy are you, O Israel, who is like unto you, O people saved by Yahweh, the shield of your help, and who is the sword of your excellency. And your enemies shall be found liars unto you, and you shall tread upon their high places. God has been our shield, an exceedingly great reward, as he told Abraham. Over the breast of the eagle on the United States seal is a shield. The shield of faith. It is 13 stripes or bars, red and white, signifying the number 13. So once again we have what? 13 stripes. The number 13, identifying our nation, although our identity for the most part is hidden. I know Ephraim, and Israel's not hidden from me. Hosea 5:3. The ox knows its owner, the donkey his master's crib, but Israel does not know. My people do not consider. So we have less intelligence than a dumb animal who knows where to go. At the end of the day, they wander back to their owner. We don't know who we are. Okay. Going on here. It has 13 stripes and bars, red and white, signifying the number 13. The number of the tribe of Ephraim, which was the 13th tribe of Israel, being the youngest of all. I just covered that. God is our shield, he said to Abraham. I am thy shield and your exceeding reward. Genesis 15:1. David cried, But you, O Lord, are a shield for me, my glory and the lifter up of my head. David prayed, For you, Lord, will bless the righteous with favor. Will thou compass him with a shield? Or you will compass him with a shield. Okay. The 13 pale ways or stripes on the shield represent the 13 original colonies. The shield is not fastened to the eagle, but spreads across the front of it, as if held there by an unseen hand. So once again, we were born in 13 colonies. Okay. Which were like countries. Commonwealth. We were known as these United States, not the United States. Okay. Going on here. In the eagle's beak there is a scroll representing the proclamation of liberty and freedom and justice for all. The Constitution of the United States based on the laws of God and the Torah which God gave to ancient Israel. The motto E pluribus unum means one from many, or out of many one. 50 states. E pluribus unum, 13 letters. Out of one, many. The 50 states. Begun with the 13 colonies, or 13 states, expanding to 50 states. All right. Once again, our identity hidden in plain sight. Okay. E pluribus unum. Going on here. Finding my place. All right. Just let me go on here. America is a commonwealth of 50 states. At our national political conventions, members from each state rise and address the chair saying, Mr. Chairman, we the Commonwealth of Maine, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and so on and so on. Notice that the eagle's right claw is clutched an olive branch. This olive branch has 13 leaves and 13 olives. So if you notice here, the olive branch, 13 leaves, 13 olives. Once again, the number 13, which is the number of rebellion. I forget which verse in chapter 5. God says their drink is rebellion. That's us. You can see with the coronavirus and all that, everything's a conspiracy. They just won't repent. Why should I stricken you more and more? You're going to revolt continuously. Isaiah chapter 1. Yeah. And what is it? Hosea chapter 4, I do believe. I struck you with this and that, but you did not return to me. He's going to take us out. Mm-hmm. All right, so there's the 13 olive leaves and the olives. Joseph is compared in prophecy to a fruitful bough of an olive tree, Genesis 49:22. The olive tree is supreme among trees. The first tree the other trees asked to reign over them was the olive tree, Judges 9:8. But the fruit of the olive honors God and man. It seeks not to reign, but to bear fruit. And you know, we have always taken the leadership role grudgingly. We didn't even want to get in to World War II. We wanted to remain isolationists. Grudgingly, we took on the role of the leader of the world. It is a sacred tree and a symbol of the Holy Spirit of God and of the Torah, the life-giving law and revelation of God. The olive branch is the greatest symbol also of peace, or in Hebrew, shalom. So now we're going to go to the arrows next. Notice the bundle in the left hand of 13 arrows. Okay. So what does that represent? The bundle of arrows. Joseph is a fruitful bough. The archers have sorely grieved him and shot at him and hated him. But his bow abode in strength, and his arms of his hands were made strong by the hands of the mighty God of Jacob. Genesis 49, 22, 24. Joseph, Ephraim, and Manasseh, America and Britain, are famous for their military prowess. Their bow is strong. They are powerful archers. The bow today is a symbol of air power. Our missiles, our jets. They were expert archers back in the days of the ancient kingdom. It was largely U.S. air power that defeated the Axis during World War II. We had 86,000 warplanes at the end of World War II. We were launching 2 warships every hour, I do believe, at the end of World War II. Just amazing. The bow today is a symbol of air power. It was largely the U.S. air power that even I read that. I'm sorry. This air power devastated Saddam Hussein in the Gulf War that wreaked havoc in North Vietnam. You know, in the Gulf War, we killed like over 100,000 Iraqis. We lost like 185 people, I do believe. You talk about one person putting, 10 to flight and 10 putting 100 to flight or whatever. Or 10 putting 1,000 to flight, or 100 putting 1,000 to flight. I forget exactly. Of course, we don't seem to finish what we start anymore. As a matter of fact, we were handed the earth like Joseph was handed the earth, the known world, or Egypt, the Egypt type of the world. He was good. He was a governor, a manager over Egypt. Yeah, we didn't do it. We didn't do it correctly when it was handed to us. We wreaked havoc in North Vietnam during the Vietnam War. The arrow is a symbol of war-making power. The ancient Anglo-Saxons were excellent archers. Who hasn't heard of Robin Hood and his merry men of Sherwood Forest? In the eagle's left claw are 13 arrows, representative of Ephraim, the 13th tribe. They symbolize national readiness and preparedness to fight and to safeguard the truth, the liberty, the freedoms which God has given us to enjoy. We were the leaders of the free world. We even defeated the Soviet Union. Probably a type of Satan. Gog and Magog. And that. Eternal vigilance is the price of liberty. The arrows of the Almighty will protect his people so long as we obey him. But woe unto us if God himself sends his arrows to punish us for our disobedience. Deuteronomy 32:23, Ezekiel 5:16. That's coming. Our economy is trash. This is the plague, the virus, the COVID virus is the plague that clings. Now we have the Delta virus coming. I know it's a conspiracy, this, that. All things are of God. Nobody realizes yet that God is going to bring this nation down. We're still in Syria, by the way. Still in control of 1/3 of it, basically. Okay. The Damascus Oracle. Yeah. All right. Going on here. On the seal of the United States of America, there are 13 olive leaves, 13 olives, 13 arrows, 13 stripes on the shield, 13 letters in E pluribus unum, 13 stars above the eagle's head. So just take a notice there. 13 stars above the eagle's head. Notice that? All right. Interestingly, There were 13 original colonies, 13 ships in the original American Navy. In World War I, 13 ships were sent to Europe and took 13 days to cross the Atlantic, landing on Friday the 13th. The American troops on board fought in 13 battles in France. On the obverse side of the U.S. seal, there are 13 tiers of stone in the Great Pyramid. Didn't pull up a picture of that. Over the eagle's head is a cloud or crest, a glorious scene of the glory of God shining through and breaking up, a cloud shining upon the 13 stars. So it's glory of God here, this radiance here, this yellowish gold radiance breaking up this cloud. It's actually the pillar of cloud. Okay. It was a pillar of fire and a cloud of the presence of God that led ancient Israel out of Egypt. Exodus 13, 21, 22, 14, 24. The divine glory breaking through the cloud shows that it is the power and glory of God shining upon Israel that keeps her safe and makes her great and gives her deliverance. So long as we acknowledge our God and his presence and obey his laws, our nations will be great. But if and when we forget God, then our punishment and doom is assured. Every great empire has been destroyed. God says when a nation sins against him, he'll destroy it. He'll punish it. He'll remove it from his sight. We're about to get vomited out of the land. The 13 stars in the cloud above the eagle represent two truths. Number one, the number 13 reveals the 13 tribes of Israel in total. And number two, the scene depicts 12 stars below bowing down before the highest star, the star of Joseph. This was in fulfillment of Joseph's amazing dream where he said, "Behold, the sun and the moon and the 11 stars made obeisance to me." Genesis 37:9. See verses 10 and 11 also. So these, notice above here the star above and then all the rest of the stars below. Remember those dreams Joseph had? That all the sheaves bowed down to him. The sun, the moon, and 11 stars bowed down to him. And it's just the same thing over. Who dominates the world today? It's coming to an end, though. Who's the leader of the tribes of Israel since World War II over here in northwestern Europe? Who depends on the United States for all its military weapons, for the most part, economic aid, protection from Ishmael, who dwells to the east of him, Judah, United States. Judah, when an Israel leader like Benjamin Netanyahu, when they would go to visit these presidents, they just bow down and basically grovel to them. Oh, we'll do whatever you say. Well, they find a way to get out of it, like the two-state solution in that. We have rulership over them. Okay. So this is a kind of a reintroduction to prophecy. I may start to really go heavily, get into Daniel and stuff like that. Start studying prophecy more in depth. Because we are still in Syria. Biden has told the troops to stay put in Syria. Things are becoming more unstable by the day in the Middle East. We're going to ride it out here on this channel. Too many strange things have happened to me from my youth. especially since I picked up the book in the fall of 1985, The United States and Britain in Prophecy. I read it, identifying the United States as Manasseh, and I said, nope. In my mind, I said, nah, the United States is Ephraim. Just let you in. I believe that I became cursed when that thought came into my mind. But that spirit will be tested also. All right, so that's it. The Great Seal of the United States identifies, number 13 all over it, identifies us as Ephraim. But let the spirits be tested now. Okay? Prove all things. Thank you for your time, and thank you for listening.